The late afternoon sun streamed through the windows of the Thompson house, casting long shadows across the living room. Jake Thompson, a bright 17-year-old, was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. His parents, Mark and Linda, had always seemed like the perfect couple from the outside, but lately, Jake had sensed tension in their marriage. Quiet arguments, secretive phone calls, and his father coming home late more often than not, it all seemed unusual. Jake tried not to overthink it. After all, teenagers often worry about small things. But something inside him refused to let go. That afternoon, he noticed his dad sneaking out of the house while claiming to run quick errands. Curiosity tugged at Jake's chest, and he decided to follow, discreetly. Mark's car rolled into a secluded neighborhood, stopping in front of a modest but cozy townhouse. Jake hid behind a tree, heart racing. From the shadows, he saw his dad hug another woman warmly, whispering things he couldn't hear. The image burned itself into Jake's mind. The man he had looked up to all his life was betraying his mother. Jake felt a mix of disbelief, anger, and sadness. This wasn't a movie. This was real life, and it was happening to his family. He returned home silently, trying to process what he had just witnessed. That evening, he sat in his room, replaying the scene over and over in his mind. Should he confront his dad? Should he tell his mom? His hands trembled as he realized the weight of the situation. Whatever he did next could shatter the family completely. Dinner was tense. Linda, unaware of what Jake had seen, tried to keep the conversation light. Mark, usually jovial, seemed distant and distracted. Jake's mother noticed something was off, but before she could ask, Jake blurted out, "Dad, I saw you today, with her." The room froze. Linda gasped, and Mark's face turned pale. He tried to compose himself, but the guilt was written all over his features. "Jake, it's not what you think," he stammered, but Jake wasn't listening. "How could you, Dad? How could you do this to Mom?" Jake's voice cracked, a mix of hurt and betrayal. Linda's eyes welled up with tears. She had suspected something for months but never had proof. Now, the reality was undeniable. Mark tried to explain, claiming loneliness, stress, and mistakes, but the words sounded hollow. The trust they had built over decades was crumbling in front of Jake's eyes. Jake felt a strange sense of responsibility. He couldn't let this continue silently. "Mom deserves the truth," he said firmly. "She needs to know everything." Later that night, Linda confronted Mark. The conversation was long, painful, and filled with tears. Mark admitted his affair, exposing the cracks in their marriage that had been ignored for years. He begged for forgiveness, promising to end things immediately and seek counseling, but the damage had already been done. Jake watched from the doorway, heart heavy. He realized something profound. Loyalty and trust were not just words. They were the foundation of family. When that foundation cracked, everything else was at risk. The following weeks were emotionally taxing. Linda moved temporarily into her sister's home, and Jake stayed with his father at first, trying to understand how a man he admired so much could make such a mistake. Therapy sessions, open conversations, and quiet reflection became the new routine. It wasn't easy. Family dinners were awkward, and every encounter carried the weight of past betrayals. But over time, each member of the Thompson family began to heal in their own way. Mark attended counseling religiously, learning to confront his mistakes rather than run from them. Linda found strength in independence, discovering parts of herself she had neglected for years. And Jake, though scarred by the betrayal, learned resilience and empathy. Months later, the family came together for Jake's high school graduation. The tension from before had eased, replaced by a cautious understanding. Mark had proven his commitment to change, and Linda had learned to set boundaries for her own happiness. Jake stood between them, seeing them not as perfect but as human, capable of mistakes, yet capable of growth. That day, as they watched Jake walk across the stage, they shared a quiet moment of recognition. Life would never be the same, but they had survived the storm together. The betrayal had shattered their world temporarily, but it had also taught them the value of honesty, forgiveness, and resilience. Moral: betrayal can break trust, but facing the truth with courage and setting boundaries can heal wounds. Loyalty, honesty, and accountability are the true foundations of family.